here. We are getting ready to dive into another fun resin art tutorial, and by popular request, just in time for spooky season, everyone wants to know how to make these amazing candy corn earrings, and we're going to do two different pair, so let's dive into it. Here is a list of supplies that we are going to use for these earrings. We're using the Resin Rockers original formula. We're using a little bit of the Pearl River glitter. This is a really fine microfine, and it's more of a white, and it's just to pair with the shaved ice, and the shaved ice is another iridescent chunky. We're using the Boom Boom Pow, which is a great orange, and Bananigans Monkey, which makes the perfect yellow for the candy corn colors. We're using the Resin Rockers pocket lamp for this, as well as the MagicCure. We're using some of our hardware here with the pinch clips already built in so that it's very, very simple to assemble them. We are using the dual teardrop mold, and this is the skinny. There are a couple different ones in the shop. This is the one that I prefer for the candy corn because it's a little bit more narrow here. All of the Resin Rockers molds are very, very sturdy. So this is very, very important when you're doing these kinds of projects. You're also going to need a mini silicone cup and one of our snow globe brushes with a silicone tip. You'll also need a lighter to get the bubbles out, and I use micro brushes sometimes to clean up my pieces at the end, but let's dive in. All right, if you have more than one mini silicone cup, you can mix all the colors at once. If you don't, you can use one at a time, cure the cup, peel out the resin, and start over. We're going to take our original formula here, and we are going to fill each cup about a third of the way up. And we're going to be making two pair of earrings, and we're going to do candy corn patterns for both. All right, let's go ahead and add our glitter. First, I'm going in with the Pearl River. We're only going to need a little bit of this, just a little. And then we're going to go in with the shaved ice. And then we're going in with the Bananigans Monkey. This is a really nice yellow, chunky, fluffy mix. And last but not least, Boom Boom Pow. This is the perfect orange for that candy corn. All right, we're gonna give each of these a stir. You want it to be the consistency of a syrup, like this. I'm gonna go ahead and speed this stirring process up for you guys so we can keep on moving. Just make sure you stir the sides as well so that everything's well mixed. So we're gonna take our yellow and we're gonna go right here into this bottom portion. You don't need much, this is only the bottom. And as soon as it starts to level out at the bottom, you're gonna take your pocket lamp and you're gonna just hold it on there for about 2 to 3 seconds. And that's just enough to stop it in its tracks, which is exactly what we want it to do. We're gonna do the exact same thing on the other side. Let it level out to be even with the other side here, the other earring here. Stop it in its tracks. All right, now we're going to do the bottom. So we're gonna pour right along the bottom here. Just like this. And we're gonna go up to this other earring, the bottom, right here. We're going up to the same spot here. Now with this one, you've got a little bit more time. I usually will go over it with my lighter just to make sure there aren't any air pockets. And then I go ahead and I stop it in its tracks. We're going to repeat that step over here. So we're gonna follow the same process. We're gonna start it right here on the bottom corner, and we're gonna work it all the way around. And we're gonna end it right at the top of where this other earring section is. Just like that. You wanna make sure it's nice and level. Perfect. Hit it with a little bit of heat there and stop it in its tracks. All right, we're gonna move on to the orange now. That's the middle section of the candy corn. So I'm gonna take my orange, I'm gonna stir it up. That little orange chunky likes to float sometimes, so. All right, we're gonna do the exact same thing. We're gonna go right into the middle. Right up against that yellow. And we're gonna stop it in its tracks. Same thing on the other side. These are the smaller earrings, so you're not gonna need a lot. Stop it in its tracks. It only takes about 1 to 2 seconds to do it. All right, we're gonna go up here. I'm gonna pinch my cup just to give me a little bit more control of the pour. And on this one, we're gonna go right up to where the peg is on that smaller earring, right there. And then you're gonna stop it in its tracks. Same thing on the other side. Right up to the peg and stop it in its tracks. We're going to repeat on the other side. Okay, so now we're going in with our white. This is the shaved ice in the Pearl River. And we're just gonna add a little dollop here on both sides. And then we're gonna let that level out on its own because we want it to level around this peg right here. And I'm gonna show you how to give it a little bit of an assist as well. So we're gonna let that kind of rest for a moment, and we're gonna do the rest of this earring. So we're gonna go up and down, just like that. You can use your silicone brush if you happen to get some on the edge, just kind of sweep it in. We're gonna do the same thing on the other side, up and then down, just like that. And now what I want you to do is, if you have a micro brush or a toothpick works also, I want you to just push some resin up into this area where the peg is, because that's what's going to not have air bubbles. It's going to reinforce where you're putting the hardware. So just kind of give it a little bit of a push. And that's one of the reasons why I like to use the microfine in addition to the chunky, because the microfine mixes with the resin and it levels out so much better. It's so much easier to do. So go ahead and just make sure there's resin all the way around the pegs. It's super, super important. And then we're going to do the same thing up here. We're going to kind of gently push it up around those pegs. And sometimes I will just kind of tap where the peg is just to give that a little bit of a start for the resin to level out. If it's not getting in there too well, just kind of push a little resin down to the top of that peg and it'll level out real nice around it. Perfect. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of just clean up with my silicone brush around the edges just to reduce the amount of cleanup I'm going to have after. I'm going to do that on both sides. Perfect. And I can see that this is leveling out nicely. I'm gonna add a little bit of heat to get rid of any bubbles. And then I'm gonna add just a little bit more resin to this, because if you notice, it's kind of dipping right here in the middle. So I just want to make sure that I have enough resin. So I'm just gonna add a little bit more and then let it kind of level out. So if you see it kind of dipping, then you know you need to add a little bit more. You want it to be flush with the side of the mold, like that. Perfect. All right, now we are going to go ahead and use the MagicCure for this. So I'm gonna pull my MagicCure over, we're gonna turn it on, and we are gonna start at 6 watts, and we're just gonna go 90 seconds. And what I'm gonna do is I'm going to start the cure and titrate up in wattage. So we're gonna start at that 6 watts, and every 10 seconds or so, I'm gonna start bumping up the wattage. The slower the cure, the better the finish. It also reduces the chance of warping, so that's why we like to do that. I do it as a best practice. With these molds, you don't really have to do it too much because they're reinforced, they're really sturdy, they're made for UV resin. But a lot of the really thin molds, the flexible molds, you really need to start at that 6 watts and work your way up. So I am at 36 watts. We're gonna finish out the rest of the cure at 36 watts, and then we're gonna flip our mold over. And now we're going to flip our mold over so that we cure on the opposite side, and we're doing 60 seconds at that 36 watts. All right, now that our pieces are cured, I've let them cool for a little bit. So now we're gonna go ahead and take them out, and I'm gonna show you how to clean them up the easiest way. There are a couple tools that I like to use that are very easy that we sell in the shop. And when you're making this kind of earring, it's very easy to get spillage, and I'm gonna show you how to clean it up. So let's go ahead and take these out of the mold. So you're gonna have 2 earrings. You're gonna have, look how cute these are. These look just like candy corns. And then we're gonna take this one out. And you can see the front is what we're going to be focusing on. The front looks great, but we've got a lot of spillage around the back that we want to take care of. So I'm going to be using 2 tools for this. I'm going to be using a deburring tool. This is our #1 selling tool. We're going to take the deburring tool blade out of the box. We're going to hold down this little ring, put the blade in, and let it spring back. This has a rotating tip on it, which will allow you to get around your resin pieces very easily. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna bring over a shop towel to use to clean up and catch my shavings. Well, I'm gonna start with the smaller pair, and I'm gonna put my thumb here and use it almost like a potato peeler and just kind of peel away. See how it leaves a nice smooth edge there? And we're just gonna peel that extra resin right off. And we're gonna do that all the way around. And then in the middle, if you notice any resin, you're gonna stick that tip in there and just turn it, and it's gonna clean any resin out of there as well. And then you're left with this really nice smooth piece that we're gonna dome. So there's one, and we're just gonna continue on with all of the others. The reason I really like to do it this way is because it's not only so much cleaner and faster, but it keeps my workstation clean too. When I am working on things and I'm sanding a lot, when I'm sanding, it leaves dust everywhere. And especially as a tumbler maker, the worst thing you can do is have dust in your studio. So I like to eliminate the possibility of dust anytime that I can. So we're gonna move on to the bigger pair, and we're just gonna kind of chip away here. If you notice that you have bigger pieces, like a big piece that you've accidentally poured over and the deburring tool just isn't enough to get it, and you need to kind of snap it off, you're gonna use something called flush cutters. And you're gonna just go right up against where the overpour is, and you're just gonna snip it, just like that. So this comes in handy when you have those large pieces of overpour. So we're gonna continue all the way around. And now we're going to go on the inside. We're gonna peel that away and just make it nice and flush with the rest of the earring. Perfect. This looks great. Got a little bit of pour inside the hole there. So I'm just gonna go in with my deburring tool, rotate it around, and now it looks good. Last but not least, we're gonna do that on this last piece. I'm gonna use my flush cutters because I got a little bit of a thicker over pour here. So I'm gonna kind of chip away at that. And on the edge. And here. And now we're going to go back in with our deburring tool and go around the earring until it's even and smooth. And then we're going to do that on the inside as well. Perfect. Looks great. Gonna snip away this little extra piece here. Perfect. There's a little bit on the back as well. Let's snip that away. And now it's nice and smooth and we're ready for doming. So doming is when you add a nice clear top coat to your pieces to protect them. It really brings out the dimension in the glitter, and it is a very good way to make sure that it's nice and sturdy, there aren't any imperfections. So I'm gonna show you how to do that. So for me, what I do is I, again, use the shop towel. I'm gonna take a piece of 220 grit sandpaper and I'm just gonna rough up the surface all the way around. This is the top of the earring piece that's gonna show when you wear it. It's gonna show forward. So this is the side that everyone is gonna see. So we're just gonna do that on all 4 earrings. This is definitely a trust the process. I know you're worried about scratching up the glitter and how are you gonna get that back to its original state, but trust me, when you're done, it makes all the difference. It just really adds a lot to the piece and makes it look so much prettier. Another reason that we like to sand during this step is because when you're applying that top coat, if you don't roughen up the surface, there's a high likelihood that the resin is not going to stay on the edges because it will tend to puddle back up toward the middle. If you make the surface a little bit rougher, then that resin that you put on is gonna stick to that rough edge and you won't have to worry about it when it's starting to level out. Right now I'm gonna take some alcohol spray and I'm just gonna clean really, really well. I'm gonna clean the top of these earrings. Get rid of any dust that I might have gotten on them from sanding. And you'll notice they look normal now, but when they start to dry, they're going to be really dull. And that's how you know that you have done a good job sanding everywhere that you need to sand. And now I'm gonna dry them off. I just love these earrings so much. Okay, now that we've got them nice and dry, we're going to go ahead and add our resin. We're going in with the original formula, and I'm just gonna do a light coat all the way around the earring. I'm not going around the hole. And then we're gonna do the middle of the smaller pair. Just a line of resin in the middle. And then here, go all the way around. It's gonna level out really nicely, so you're not gonna have to do a lot. But you can see how beautiful they already look. They're coming back to life. So beautiful. We're gonna go in with our brush and just make sure your brush is clean. That's an important thing because this is a clear coat. So we want it to be have no imperfections. So we're just gonna lightly go around the earring. And when we get to the top, we're just gonna tap, 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 tap all the way around the hole so that you don't get resin in the hole. And I'm gonna put some resin in the hole because I want you guys to see how you get it out. I'm gonna show you that. All right, so we're gonna do the same thing, move our resin all the way around. And then I'm gonna tap, tap, tap right around that hole. Sometimes these like to move around when you're working with them. You can put them on a stay put mat too, and they'll kind of stay in place as you're doing this last step. It's a hack that I use a lot. We have those in the shop also. All right, we're going all the way around, making sure that it's all the way to the edge, that I'm not missing anything. Tap, 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 tap. All right, this looks great. So we've got our earrings. Now I want to show you how I got some resin in this one here. The trick to that is to move the piece and then cure it. When you're moving your piece, you can see the resin underneath it. You want to move your piece until it stops draining. So we're just going to move this piece. You can see it. And then I'm going to take a little brush, a little micro brush, and clean out the middle. And then I'm going to take my little pocket lamp and I'm just going to set it in place right there for a second. That will stop the resin from flowing into that hole, because once you start that process, it's hard to not continue going into that hole. So we will just want to make sure that we got it all. So now I'm going to line up my earrings so they all fit under the lamp nicely. And we're going to use the MagicCure for this. I'm going to make sure that we do this slowly, because the slower you cure, the better the finish. So I'm going to take it all the way down to 6 watts. We're going to start at 60 seconds and we're going to do the full 60 seconds at 6 watts. Then on the second 60 seconds, we're going to titrate up from 6 to 36 watts and then finish out the cure at that 36 watts. Now we're going to go in with 60 seconds and I'm just going to slowly work my way up in wattage. Every 5 or 10 seconds, you're just going to give that wattage a bump until it gets to the 36 watts. And then you're just going to do a full 60 seconds at that 36 watts and that will finish out the cure completely. Another bump. So now we are at 24 watts. Now we're at 36 watts, so I'm just gonna go 60 seconds at 36 watts. All right, so now that we're done curing, we are going to assemble our beautiful earrings. Look how cute they are. These are so cute. These are probably my favorite when it comes to the fall season. They just look so adorable. So we're gonna take our little pinch clip jewelry, and we have gold and silver of these, so you can choose which finish you prefer. And you're just gonna take the little pinch clip part and you're gonna put it into the hole of the earring. And you just wanna remember that the hook going back, you want the hook to go back, and then you're just gonna pinch it on. You're just gonna use your fingers and pinch on that little pinch clip into the hole, and you've got yourself a beautiful little earring. And we're gonna do that on all 4 so we can make both pair. Give it a little pinch. And I'm gonna show you how to tighten them up after. All right, we're gonna use this one. Give this one a little pinch. We're gonna do this last one. Perfect. Now what I like to do is take my pliers and very gently squeeze those pinch clips so that they're nice and tight. We don't want to crush the pinch clips, but we just want to tighten it so that they're not going anywhere. So we're going to do that on all 4. You still want some movement in there, so you don't want to do it too hard. Do it on this one and this one. And there you have it. You have a beautiful candy corn collection of earrings. They are so beautiful and so quick and easy to make. I hope you guys have fun making these. I couldn't be more happy about how these turned out. They're absolutely stunning. You will get so many compliments on these earrings. They're so popular for the spooky season. And I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial as much as I did making it. And we'll be back with another fun resin